Howdy, I'm Don Carson. I'm the senior art director here at Mighty Coconut, and I wanted to give you a tour of Widow's Walkabout, our latest course. This particular course is really a vessel for all the team members to be able to put in their favorite haunted house elements. Come on, I'll show you around. The goal was to create that house that lives at the end of that dark street that everybody talks about and nobody's brave enough to go visit. So we wanted to have that sort of eerie, classic, what you expect to experience when you're in a haunted house. And one of the first things you might see is this sort of flowing, growing mechanic, this thing that's happening with the courses, and that's the unique piece of this particular course, is you're going to see this sort of undulating and moving quality, very mysterious and spooky. In easy mode, we have this really dramatic red lighting that's coming as the sun is setting in the distance. And that was Zach Alexander, who's our graphics art director, also responsible for all of the color concepts. Really wanted to have a contrast between the hot exterior, the blood red sun, with the cool interior and the cool back that faces the ocean. Let's head up the stairs. We are really trying to do our best to check off all the boxes of things you would imagine you'd find in a haunted house, and with a lot of nods to the Haunted Mansion, to the Addams Family, and to classic sort of horror movie haunted house films. And really, we also wanted to create something we haven't done a lot before, which was create an environment that's explorable. So even though there's definitely a path as you're following the holes, you can also just go off the path and wander around the house and walk up the stairs and experience it in your own way. If you look right up through the ceiling, you can see up into the attic where hole 17 is. We wanted to create a central place that you revisit over and over again as you're wandering through the house. So we're going to enter over here by hole 3 and 4, and this is the front parlor. And they're having a wake here in the front parlor, but the guest of honor is missing. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. And also, all these portraits throughout the house were done by Zach. They hint at there being a family of sorts, an eccentric family that owned this house. And we don't get specific about who these folks are, but some of them are following you as you walk around. We also have moments of spectral animation. You will not see any ghosts in the house while you're in it, but you will see all of them when you're in God mode. Is the only time that you can see the ghosts. We also wanted to make sure that the holes were themed to a haunted house, and so the family that owns this house love to collect things, and hole 4 is a guillotine mechanic. It's one of their collected artifacts. We're going to move out of the parlor and we're going to head into the conservatory. And the conservatory is the first time you get a look out the back. You can see the gazebo out. And the entire house is teetering on the edge of a cliff, which is falling into the ocean. So we've got this cool sky in the background with the hot front. And in here are growing some questionable spooky plants. And we're starting to do a lot more moving parts where the mechanic for the holes is going to be ghost driven. We're going to go into the grand ballroom. The cliffs are pulling away from the edge of the house, and so part of the house has actually fallen into the ocean, and the back wall of our vaulted ceilinged ballroom is down in the waves somewhere. So we wanted to feel like you were getting to visit and revisit spaces. So there are other ways to experience this room from up above. And then as we move past the ballroom, we will head back outside. A little bit of a view down to the ocean. We've also got this lighthouse off in the distance, and we've art directed this big hole in the side of the house to frame perfectly that lighthouse off in the distance. Along with the ghost mechanics, we also have wind, making a revisit from Coyote Valley. So you'll have a couple of wind mechanics and obstacles. I think the Haunted Mansion is probably my #1 absolute favorite attraction. And so one can't do a haunted house without at least a nod and an homage. So you'll see that there are some aspects of it that are definitely a testament to that attraction. But I'm an equal fan of the Addams Family. More spooky and ooky than necessarily blood-covered and severed limbs. This is much more leaning toward the classic idea of a haunted house, as opposed to some kind of jump scare. There are no jump scares here, although there are some elements, like in hard mode, we have lightning, and we also have a couple of spooky things that happen throughout the house that you can actually turn off if it's a little too much for you. So when we were working at Imagineering, a fellow designer and I decided that we would design some improvements to the Haunted Mansion in our free time, which we did. We ended up doing models and sketches. None of those ever actually made it into additions to the haunted houses in the theme parks, but it was just so much fun to work on it. So in that spirit, one of the things we wanted to try to do was we wanted to make sure that everybody in the team had an opportunity to include whatever they thought was quintessential haunted house. So in a lot of ways, this is designed by everybody at Mighty Coconut as they've had an opportunity to come in and add those little details that they think are really what they want to see in a haunted house. Edward introduced the hidden body with Sweetopia, and of course, you can't have a haunted house without a few. There are definitely hidden bodies throughout the house, so I'll let other people find them, but they're here. One of the ways I love to encounter this or experience this is to turn the music down and turn the sound effects up, because there's a lot of creaking and groaning and stuff that's happening in the house. This is Chris's soundtrack. All of his soundtracks are original and fabulous and fit perfectly with the courses. This definitely has some theremin action happening. So there's that spooky, classic haunted house movie feel. We're always trying to have it, you turn a corner and then experiencing something that you were not expecting. But like I said, as you turn corners, you also get a view back into that big foyer, that large great room at the beginning. Everybody got to say what they thought the haunted house needed to have in it, that moving holes effect, which is unique. We haven't done this before in any of our courses. And we also get another view back into the ballroom over here, which I think is a nice view. We'll make our way up the staircase up to the nursery. We also have access back to the conservatory through this door, and we have a view back into the parlor, which is part of that design choice to be able to constantly revisit visually places that you've been. And we'll make our way up to the nursery, and nothing bad could happen there, right? As we continue, you're getting more and more ghost animation. We've got the moving hole, we've got moving objects, and we have a scale model of the house that we're in. The exact same model as we're in right now, simplified for the nursery. And then we all agreed that you couldn't have a haunted house without disturbing dolls, including Emma's clown doll, which is just disturbing, period. And once again, we're making our way back into that great room that great entrance foyer, and you can see up into the attic a little bit better from here, and across the way you can see the elevator going up and down. It's also a real opportunity to admire Zach's portrait work on the walls. There's a staircase that goes up just to a landing that gives you a view out to the sea. And we're making our way over here to the curiosity room, the study. And in the spirit of them collecting things, there's lots of strange things they've gathered. If you look away, it will go away. But it may come back somewhere else. You should hear the pattering of little doll feet running away when you look away. That's one of the things you can turn down if you so desire. There are artifacts in this study that are both from previous courses that you may have seen elsewhere, and there are a couple that are actually from upcoming unannounced courses. You have to stay tuned to see where they show up in the future. Some more holes inspired by collected torture devices. And then we'll make our way to the elevator, heading up to the attic. We're up in the attic now, and it's worth mentioning that with the exception of the Nautilus, we've never done a course as densely packed as this. And one of the things we loved about the Nautilus was that God view, being able to see the open side of the submarine. And so we really wanted to capture that here in God mode. So everything is very densely packed together. This is hard mode, and this is our complete homage to classic haunted house movies. And I just love how this all came out. For me, it really checks that last box of what I expect a haunted house to have in it. The lightning is turn-offable if there's an issue, along with the spooky bits. But yeah, welcome.